Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's video we have my GW28 transfer plans. Now it's been a while since I made a video. I do apologize for that, but I was having some technical issues with my laptop, so I've had to get that sorted out. Thankfully it is now, and that's why we have a video today. But I unfortunately did not upload any videos for Game Week 27, nor did I have a Game Week 27 deadline stream. But we're back now. Looking ahead into Game Week 28, we're in the midst of a bit of a break because there's the FA Cup games going on right now, soon to be the Champions League games midweek as well, before we get the Game Week 28 deadline. So still a couple of days to go. But I thought in today's video, I just share with you guys a bit of an update on my team, where I stand at this point in time, and also where I'm looking ahead in terms of transfers. So if you guys do enjoy today's video, please do drop a like, please do subscribe as well. Videos are finally back, and let's get cracking with this one. So right now, I'm ranked 54k in the world, which is still, I think, a decent enough position to kind of push into the top 10k by the end of the season, which is the overall aim. I still have a couple of chips to go that I have not used. The wildcard in Game Week 30, the bench boost in Game Week 33, as well as the free hit in Game Week 34. That is likely going to be my strategy for the rest of the season. And so with 3 chips to go, I think it puts me in a decent enough position to push on for that final rank. In terms of money in the bank, I have 0.4 million and 1 free transfer for Game Week 28. Now, the big question surrounding my team is how I intend to navigate Game Week 29 with just my free transfers. So this is largely going to dictate how I use my transfers and who I intend to bring in, because I don't intend to use a chip in Game Week 29. So looking at Game Week 28 specifically now, with this starting 11, I have Verbruggen in goal, Fulham at home. That's a decent enough fixture. In defense, I have Kirkes, Trent and Gabriel. Trent and Gabriel, I have no issue starting them this week. Kirkes against Tottenham away may not be ideal, so I do have Robinson on the bench, but he also plays Brighton away, which I think it might be a tricky fixture for him as well. Now, Kirkes and Robinson both very attacking, so there's quite little to separate both of them. For the time being, I have Kirkes in. Now in midfield, it's Bowen, Mbeumo, Salah and Palmer. Great fixtures for Salah and Palmer there. Arguably 2 of the best ones that they can have. Mbeumo, consistent enough for the past few game weeks, happy enough to have him. Bowen is the new inclusion that I brought in Game Week 27. Unfortunately, he only got 1 assist against Leicester, but I did kind of feel like it was an okay kind of gamble to go with Bowen instead of a Bournemouth midfielder like Clivert, for example, because I did feel like over a longer period of time, say Game Week 27 to Game Week 29, which is when I'll need this midfield spot, I think Bowen could be quite competitive in terms of the returns he'll get as compared to the Bournemouth mids. So that's why Bowen is still here. He has Newcastle at home now. And then I have Nwaneri first on the bench. Now, I'll touch on Nwaneri later on, but I actually think that he could be an option for me this week because Mateta right now is injured and red flagged. I'll speak about my strikers in a bit, but there's every possibility that I could actually still roll the transfer this week, bench Mateta, and then start Nwaneri instead. So we'll see what happens there, but that's one of the permutations open to me. In terms of forwards, I have Isak, Vissa, and Mateta. And this is where there are kind of 3 key updates in today's video that I want to share with everyone. So the first is that Alexander Isak is now back fit. I am recording this as Newcastle are playing Brighton in the FA Cup. Now, Isak has not only started that game, but he has also scored in that game. He scored a penalty. Even though it's a penalty, it's good to see Isak back playing and back scoring as well. So I think for West Ham away in Game Week 28, there shouldn't be any issues with him. So that's the first update. The second update is Mateta here, who's currently red flagged. He did have a serious injury in the game yesterday against Millwall. It was a horror injury, a tackle from the goalkeeper that really should have seen red right from the get-go. But Michael Oliver had to go to the TV screen because VAR kind of brought it to his attention, and then he kind of sent the keeper off. Right. So thankfully, based on the latest updates, it is a ear injury that he's gotten 25 stitches for. And basically, he's conscious internally. It doesn't seem like there's any serious issue. So that's good. And I do think hopefully we'll see him back on the pitch soon enough. But at least for Game Week 28, he's a non-option. And then he blanks in Game Week 29 as well. So he was actually one of the players that I would be selling in Game Week 29 to make way for, a player who does have a fixture then. and thereafter I bring him back in game week 30 on my wildcard. But for now, because of the uncertainty with his situation, I think it's very straightforward that I should be selling him. If not, at the minimum, drop him down to the bench and then Waneri comes in. So that's the second update on Mateta. The third one is Mateus Cunha. Now, he's not even in my team, but I think it's worth mentioning because Cunha was a player that I was happy to bring in either for Mateta or Isak if I do sell him in game week 29 when he blanks. But the thing is, Cunha now has gone on to get a red card in the 120th minute of the FA Cup game that Wolves had against Bournemouth. So essentially, he is now suspended for 3 games at the minimum in the Premier League, and that's because Wolves no longer have any FA Cup games for him to pay off that suspension. So Cunha is going to serve a minimum 3-game ban in the Premier League, and based off of what we've seen from Kudus last season as well, where Kudus had multiple violent conduct disciplinary suspensions, this could be the same case for Cunha, where earlier in the season he already saw a bit of a suspension. Now, because it's the second time that he's had violent conduct, it's possible they extend it to more than 3 games. So for the time being, he's likely going to miss at least 28, 29, and 30, and then it could be even longer. So we'll wait to see more news, but at least for the next few game weeks where Wolves have really good fixtures, unfortunately, Cunha is not going to be an option. So that also ties into the fact that when I'm looking at my Mateta replacements, I think the options are also kind of narrowed down for me into who I should go for. So that's a couple of injury updates there, as well as suspension updates, I guess. So coming back to my team right now, Isak, Vissa, and Mateta. Isak and Vissa are perfectly fine for this week. Mateta is the main one here, and I really doubt he's going to be fit for the Game Week 28 game. 25 stitches on his left ear tells me he's not going to be fit. So I do have to make a decision whether to transfer him out or just drop Mateta down to the bench and then start Waneri instead. So let's take a look at the transfer tinkering tool right now, play around with a couple of transfers that I'm thinking about in terms of forward replacements, and show you guys where my team could potentially be come game week 28. So this is my team on the fpl.team transfer planner, exactly as shown in the graphic just now. And let's have a look at a couple of permutations that I'm thinking about. So the first one is actually to do nothing with Mateta, keep him in my team, but drop him down to the bench and then start Waneri instead against Manchester United away. Now, that's not the worst thing in the world. And the real benefit of this is to have 2 free transfers in game week 29 to bring Haaland in for Mateta. This is the real benefit of rolling my transfer in game week 28. But that said, there's also a downside to this combination, and it's because I have to sell Salah to fund Haaland, and that would likely be for someone like a Semenyo to kind of fund this combination move. Now, in isolation, this would leave me with a pretty good team for game week 29. I'll have Haaland in. I'll also have a decent enough starting 11. So for game week 29, without chips used, I'll be able to get to something like this. But again, as you've seen just now, I have to drop Salah down to Semenyo. And one of the real things about selling Salah or even Isak right now at this point in time is that firstly, we've had them for a very long period of time in our teams. They've risen in price week after week now. When we sell them, say game week 30, I want to buy them back after I've sold them, I have to spend an extra 0.4 or 0.5. That's the nature of players like Salah and Isak, where they've risen so much in price that you're pretty much going to lose value on them if you sell them and then buy them back. So basically, going for this combination here, Haaland and Semenyo in for Mateta as well as Salah, I immediately lose 0.5 team value on this. So I'm not really keen on the idea of losing so much team value that quickly just for a gamble of 1 game week in game week 29. So though this is one of the possibilities, I think I'm not super keen on that, even though it is something that I have considered. Now, I'll move back to... I'll undo the moves first. So I'll bring Salah back in, then Mateta back in. I'll go back to game week 28 as well. So for game week 28, this again is the team without any transfers made. And let's talk about a couple of other permutations that I'm looking at. So the other way that I could go about dealing with this Mateta situation is I sell Mateta right now from the get-go and I look at alternatives in the forward options. Now, Chris Wood is the first one that jumps out at me. He does have Man City at home in game week 28. But the thing with Chris Wood is that this season we've seen that he does not have to get a lot of chances to score. That would likely be the case against Man City. But with the way City are defending right now, do I put it past Chris Wood to get a goal or two? Not really. And the real benefit of Chris Wood, as always, is the gameweek 29 fixture, which he has Ipswich away. So Chris Wood in for Mateta in gameweek 28 right now does seem like a decent move. It's only that the fixture right in front of us now for Chris Wood isn't ideal. But if I do transfer him in, I'm pretty sure I will still start him ahead of Waneri. So Chris Wood, one of the options. The other one that I'm looking at is actually Beto. Now, before you guys go off on me about Beto, he has actually the best 2-week fixture run, which is essentially how long I would need this striker position for. Wolves away in gameweek 28. And as we've said just now, Wolves aren't going to have Cunha. They also kind of will have a little bit of structural differences. We'll see how they cope without Cunha. But I do think like this will be a weakened Wolves side. And thereafter, West Ham at home in gameweek 29 as well. So when I look at this 2-game week run, Beto actually does have one of the better fixtures. Now, I could obviously go for something like Beto in gameweek 28 and then Isak out for Chris Wood in gameweek 29. This would allow me to still have both these players, and then my team could look something like Salah down to the bench for Waneri, Robinson, in for someone like Trent, and the team could look something like this, which is not too bad as well. But again, you see that this combination of moves requires me selling someone like Isak as well. So let's say I don't sell Isak, I reverse kind of the moves that I've made, I bring Isak back in. I could obviously just sell Trent for someone like a Vardiol and then sub everyone with fixtures in. This would give me a 4-4-2 with Isak and Salah on the bench, players that I would lose huge amount of value in if I do sell. But going with this combination of Trent out for Vardiol in gameweek 29, I will still be able to get 11 playing players, albeit maybe not as optimized for fixtures in 29. But there you see how this striker position here, would I rather have someone like a Beto or would I rather have someone like a Chris Wood here in my 4-4-2? Right, so going back to gameweek 28 now, it's a bit messy here and there. But when you look at this position here, who I replace Mateta with, it is quite crucial that I actually go with someone I'd be happy with in both gameweek 28 and 29. So at this point in time, I think what's more likely is that I might go with Chris Wood here. He's the one in terms of replacements that I'm most keen on getting. Not only because I think Nottingham Forest are a better attack, but also that I think Chris Wood has a higher effective ownership. So if he does really well in these 2 game weeks, I won't be able to cover him much with the other kind of differentials that I'm going for. So for now, I think the most likely move is actually Chris Wood in for gameweek 28. And then come gameweek 29, I make a decision whether I want to sell Trent for Vardiol in this spot here, or if I want to sell Isak to maybe a Beto, for example, given that I would have already had Chris Wood. So currently, going back to gameweek 28, this is where my team is at. Let me know what you guys think. What should I do? Should I bench Mateta and then start Waneri, roll the transfer to get Haaland in gameweek 29? Or should I just sell Mateta as a straight swap for someone like Chris Wood or Beto? Now, I did not mention a couple of other replacements that are decent enough for forward replacements as well. Someone like a Marmoush, for example. But I'm just not super keen on going for Marmoush with the fixtures that they have over the next 2. Right? It's Nottingham Forest away and then Brighton at home. Now, both these 2 teams this season have performed pretty well. Brighton, especially of late, have looked somewhat of a renewed side. They kind of dipped a little bit in the middle part of the season, but now I think they're kind of coming up again. So Forest as well as Brighton aren't easy fixture for someone like a Marmoush, and I do think that after the Newcastle game, his role has kind of changed slightly as well. He's not been taking as many shots. So looking at again, the alternatives that I've mentioned just now, like Chris Wood, Beto, these are likely where I'll be going. If not, roll the transfer and go for Haaland 29 instead. Let me know what you think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was not too confusing. The videos are back. Do drop a like. Do subscribe as well. And I'll catch you in the next one very, very soon. Bye-bye.